فإن آمنوا بمثل ما آمنتم به فقد اهتدوا وإن تولوا فإنما هم في شقاق.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين ونستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قام أمام الناس وصلى على المنبر عليه الصلاة والسلام وقال إنما فعلت هذا لتأتموا بي ولتعلموا صلاتي.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the one who bestows mercy, indeed all praise is due to Allah, and may peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he stood up on the minbar, on the pulpit, and he prayed in front of the people. And then he said, I have only done this in order for you to follow your prayers with me and in order to teach you how to pray.
وعلى هذا كان الصحابة والسلف الصالح رضوان الله عليهم يطبقوا صفة صلاة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And similarly, the companions and the great imams of the Salaf who came afterwards, they used to also follow the method of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in teaching the prayer in a practical manner.
الأصل أن المسلم يتطهر في بيته.
So the base ruling is that a person, a Muslim, he should purify himself in his house.
يعني يخرج من بيته وهو جاهز للصلاة متوضئ جاهز.
Meaning a person before he leaves the house, he's all ready for the prayer.
يلبس أحسن الثياب.
And he wears the best of his clothes.
الأصل أنه يمشي إلى المسجد ولا يركب.
And the asl is that a person, he should walk to the masjid and he doesn't, not in a mode of transport.
وإن ركب فالأشكال.
But if a person rides to the masjid, then no problem.
يأتي إلى المسجد بسكينة ووقار. السكينة في الحركات يعني لا يأتي وهو يجري، والوقار في الهيئة يعني لا يأتي وهو يلتفت أو يرفع الصوت أو يتكلم في الهاتف أو مشمر مثلا.
And when a person is coming to the masjid, then he comes in a state of calmness and at the same time with a level of dignity. And the meaning of being calm is that he walks slowly and calmly to the masjid. So he isn't running, he isn't jogging. And the meaning of coming with dignity is that in his appearance and how he is interacting. So he isn't shouting at people and turning left and right.
فإذا وصل إلى المسجد قدم الرجل اليمنى وقال الدعاء الوارد عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And when he comes to the masjid, when he wants to enter the masjid, then he enters with his right foot. And he says the supplication which has been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
ويترك الدنيا خارج المسجد.
And as he is entering the masjid, he leaves the dunya, he leaves the worldly affairs outside the masjid.
فلا يمكن أن يبيع ويشتري في المسجد.
So it isn't permitted for him to buy and sell whilst he is in the masjid.
يبحث عن الأشياء المفقودة في المسجد.
Or that he looks for his lost property in the masjid.
الغيبة والنميمة.
And similarly, backbiting, slandering.
اللعب في المسجد.
And playing around in the masjid.
لأن البعض هدانا الله يفتح الجوال على الألعاب ويبدأ باللعب أو البحث عن الرسائل أو بعض الأرقام حتى يعني يحذف بعض الأشياء التي لا تصلح.
Because some people, may Allah guide us and guide them, when they are inside the masjid, they'll open their phones, they'll open their mobiles. And this is to either play a game, or to delete a number, or to find a number.
أو يتكلم عن السياسة عن الحكام.
Or a person sits in a masjid speaking about politics, speaking about the rulers.
أو غلاء الأسعار.
Or how things have become very expensive.
أو يجعل المسجد كالفندق مكان للأكل والشرب والنوم والاتكاء وحديث الدنيا.
And sometimes some people, they treat the masjid as if it's a hotel or as if it's a restaurant. eating, drinking, lying down, stretching out the feet, speaking about the dunya.
لا مانع أن الإنسان يأكل ويشرب وينام في المسجد، لا مانع.
There is nothing wrong, there is nothing preventing a person eating in the masjid, drinking in the masjid, or lying down in the masjid.
لكن يكون هذا بقدر الحاجة ولا تتجاوز هذا.
But this has to be in accordance to the necessity, and a person shouldn't go overboard the necessity.
كإفطار الصائم مثلا.
So for example, a person giving food to the one who is fasting in order to break his fast.
أو ينام في وقت ليس من أوقات الصلوات المفروضة الخمس.
Or a person, he takes a break and he sleeps, but not in the times where the 5 daily prayers are being established.
الله سبحانه وتعالى قال إنما يعمر مساجد الله. عمارة المساجد تكون عمارة حسية وعمارة معنوية. عمارة حسية بهذا البناء والإضاءة والفرش. أما العمارة المعنوية لابد أن نجعل المسجد عامرة بما أراد الله سبحانه وتعالى، بذكر الله، بالصلاة والاستغفار وقراءة القرآن والدروس والخطب.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, إِنَّمَا يَعْمُرُ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ. Indeed, those people who build and maintain the masajid of Allah. This imara, this building and maintaining the masajid, it's of two types. Either the physical maintenance of the masjid, in terms of physically building the masjid and cleaning the masjid, looking after the masjid, the carpets in the masjid. This is the physical maintenance of the masjid. And there is also the spiritual maintenance of the masjid. And that is that a person, he fills the masjid as Allah has ordered him to do so, with dhikr and the recitation of the Quran and the spreading of knowledge and the studying of knowledge.
وضد عمارة المساجد خراب المساجد.
And the opposite of imaratul masajid, the opposite of building and maintaining the masajid, is corrupting and destroying the masajid.
الخراب أيضا خراب حسي وخراب معنوي.
So also this corruption of the masajid and the destruction of the masajid is two types, either physical or spiritual.
تفجير المساجد.
So for example, blowing up the masajid,
هدم المساجد.
destroying, physically destroying and flattening the masajid,
رمي الأوساخ فيها.
throwing litter, dirtying the masajid.
والقسم الثاني نجعل المساجد أماكن للعب واللهو.
And then the second type of corrupting the masajid is that which relates to the spiritual sense in terms of making the masjid a place of playing and joking and idle speech.
الشرك.
And also committing a shirk, ascribing partners to Allah in worship.
الأغاني والموسيقى.
And people listening to music and songs.
أو الألعاب.
Or playing games.
إذن لابد أن تعلم أن هذه المساجد بيوت لله سبحانه وتعالى ولا تتعدى على حق الله.
So therefore you have to know, you have to realize that these are the houses of Allah, and you don't transgress the limits when it comes to the house of Allah.
هذا الذي تراه يصنع أي شيء من هذه الأمور التي نهينا عنها تذكر بماذا؟
So if you see a person who is doing these things which we have been forbidden from doing inside the masjid, then with what should you remind him?
تذكر بالفيل. الفيل. قصة أصحاب الفيل.
You should remind him of the elephant, i.e. the story of the elephant.
هذا الفيل دابة حيوان بهيمة. نعم.
The elephant is an animal.
لا يتكلم.
Does not speak.
ولم يستطع أن يتعدى على بيت من بيوت الله وهو بهيمة حيوان.
And yet, in the story of the elephant, despite it being an animal which is wild and domesticated, doesn't speak, but it wasn't able to transgress and destroy the masjid.
يعظم الله ويعظم بيوت الله سبحانه وتعالى.
Rather, it would glorify Allah and glorify the house of Allah.
فما استطاع أن يخرب مسجد أو بيت من بيوت الله.
So that wild, undomesticated animal, the elephant, wasn't able to spoil, corrupt or destroy the house of Allah.
لكن هناك ممن يدعي الإسلام في هذه الأيام يخرب المساجد.
And yet, nowadays, there are those people who claim to be upon Islam and yet they want to destroy the masajid.
يدفن فيها الأموات.
So, in some cases, they deceased or buried in the masjid.
يضع فيها المتفجرات حتى يموت من فيها من المسلمين وتخرب.
Or some of them will place bombs inside the masjid so that the people who are praying inside the masjid, they die.
بعد أن يدخل إلى المسجد ماذا يصنع؟
So after a person enters into the masjid, what should he do?
الأصل أنه يتقدم إلى الصفوف الأولى ولا يتأخر.
That the base ruling is he should go towards the front of the masjid, the first rows, and he doesn't sit towards the back.
لأن الذي يتقدم الرجال ويتأخر النساء، هذا الأصل.
Because those who are towards the front of the masjid, they are the men. And those who are towards the back of the masjid are the women.
فيتقدم إلى الصف الأول.
So therefore, when he enters into the masjid, he goes to the first row.
إذا كانت الصلاة قد أقيمت وابتدأ الإمام الصلاة يكبر تكبيرة الإحرام ويدخل مع الإمام في أي هيئة يكون عليها الإمام.
If the prayer has already started, meaning the one who is coming into the masjid is late, then he says the takbiratul ihram, which is the first takbirah, and then he joins the imam immediately in the position the imam is in.
إذن على أي هيئة الإمام عليها هو يكبر تكبيرة الإحرام ويدخل مع الإمام قائم أو راكع أو ساجد أو جالس.
So whatever position the imam is in, a person says takbiratul ihram, the first takbirah, and then he enters with the imam. If the imam is standing, he stands. If he's making ruku', he makes ruku'. If he is in sujood, he enters into sujood.
حتى ولو كان في التشهد الأخير يكبر ويدخل مع الإمام في التشهد الأخير.
And even if the imam is in the final sitting of the prayer, he says takbiratul ihram and he goes into the final sitting of the prayer.
فإذا سلم الإمام وانتهى من صلاته قام وقضى ما فات.
And then when the imam finishes from the prayer and exits from the prayer by saying at-taslim, then the person who came late, he stands up and he completes the prayer what has missed him.
وتدرك الركعة بإدراك الإمام قائما أو راكعا.
And a person catches or fulfills a unit of prayer as long as he has caught the imam whilst he was standing or whilst he was in a ruku'.
نعم. وإذا لم يدخل وقت الصلاة مثلا لم تقم الصلاة بعد ماذا يصنع؟
However, if the person who came in, he came and the prayer has not been established, meaning the imam has not entered into the prayer, what should he do?
يتقدم إلى الصف الأول.
Firstly, he comes in the first row.
إذا دخل وقت صلاة من الصلوات بالأذان فيصلي السنة القبلية إذا كان لهذه الصلاة سنة قبلية.
And if the adhan has been said and he enters into the masjid, then he prays those recommended prayers, the sunan al-rawatib, before the prayer, if the prayer has those sunan al-rawatib.
وإذا لم يكن لهذه الصلاة سنة قبلية أو لم يؤذن بعد للصلاة ماذا يصنع؟
And if the person came early such that the adhan hasn't been given for the prayer, or if he comes early and the prayer does not have sunnah prayers before it, what should he do?
يصلي ركعتين.
The person, he should pray 2 rak'at, 2 units of prayer.
قبل أن يجلس.
Before he sits down.
بعض الناس هدانا الله إياه.
Some people, may Allah guide us and them,
يدخل.
they enter into the masjid.
ويظل واقف.
And he remains standing up.
ينظر في الجوال.
Looking at his mobile.
ويرفع الصوت بالحديث.
Or raising his voice with conversation.
أو يتكلم بأي كلام.
Or he speaks with general speech.
أو ينظر في الإمام مثلا أو المؤذن ينظر فيه يعني أقم الصلاة.
Or he looks towards the imam or the mu'adhin as if he's forcing them to get up and start the prayer.
أو ينظر في الساعة.
Or he keeps looking at his watch.
أو يتنحنح حتى ينبه الإمام بإقامة الصلاة.
Or he'll gently cough just to nudge the imam to start the prayer.
والله لا يستطيع يصنع هذا في بيت ملك من الملوك أو رئيس من الرؤساء. حتى في المدرسة أو الجامعة ما يستطيع يصنع هذا.
And this person, he wouldn't do these actions in the house of a king or the residence of a minister, or even if he's at school or college, he wouldn't do these types of things.
والبعض يقول أخشى أن أدخل في الصلاة وتقام الصلاة. أخشى أن أدخل في صلاة النافلة ثم يقيم المؤذن الإقامة.
Or sometimes a person will use the excuse, i.e. for not praying the 2 rak'at, that I'm scared if I start the 2 rak'at, then the imam will also begin the prayer, so I might miss the wajib.
لا إشكال في هذا. أدخل في صلاة النافلة، فإذا كنت في الركعة الأولى وأقيمت الصلاة تقطعها بلا تسليم، في الركعة الثانية تتمها، لكن تتمها خفيفة دون إخلال بها وتسلم وتدرك الإمام.
But there is nothing wrong with this, meaning you start praying your nafil prayers, and if the imam then begins the fard prayer, if you are in the first rak'ah of your nafil prayers, then you break your prayer without making taslim and straight away you enter in with the imam. And if you are already in your second unit, your second rak'ah, and the imam has just started, then complete your nafil prayer relatively quickly, but without it being too quick, and then make taslim and enter in with the imam.
إذا لابد أن نراعي حرمة المساجد.
So therefore, we have to always pay attention to the sanctity and the honor of the masajid.
نعم. قبل أن يدخل في الصلاة,
before a person begins the prayer,
لابد أن يأتي بشروط الصلاة.
he must ensure that he fulfills the conditions of the prayer. He must ensure he fulfills the conditions, the shurut of the prayer.
الشرط الأول من شروط الصلاة الإسلام.
So the first shart or the first condition from the conditions of the prayer is Islam.
فلو صلى الكافر فصلاته باطلة.
Meaning a person has to be a Muslim. So therefore, if a non-Muslim prays the prayer, then it isn't accepted.
نحن نعرف أنه لا يصلي إلا المسلم. لماذا يذكر العلماء رحمهم الله تعالى في شروط الصلاة الإسلام؟
Now we already know that only a Muslim prays. Non-Muslims don't pray. Therefore, why do the scholars always mention that the first condition of the prayer is Islam? A person has to be a Muslim.
من يعرف؟
Who knows?
حتى في كل عبادة، أي عبادة من العبادات لابد أن يذكر العلماء في أي عبادة شرط الإسلام.
In every single act of worship, any type of worship, any type of ibadah, the scholars, they always mention that the first condition is al-Islam. So why is this?
لماذا؟ مع أننا نعرف أنه مسلم إذا صلى أصلا.
Even though we know that the fact he is praying, we know he's a Muslim. So therefore, why do we need to mention the first condition being Islam?
لأن قد يصلي من يشرك بالله شرك أكبر.
Because perhaps a person will pray and yet he is committing major acts of shirk akbar.
وتكون صلاته باطلة نسأل الله العافية والسلام.
And therefore his prayer is invalid.
يسب الرب ويصلي.
Or for example, a person prays and yet he insults Allah.
أو يدعو غير الله فيما لا يقدر عليه إلا الله.
Or for example, a person prays but then he supplicates to other than Allah in something which only Allah can fulfill.
أو يذبح للجن.
Or a person prays and yet he slaughters an animal in the name of jinn.
إذا لابد أن يحقق التوحيد.
And therefore, a person has to actualize التوحيد
حتى تكون الصلاة صحيحة.
in order for the prayer to be complete and correct.
إذا هذا هو الشرط الأول من شروط الصلاة الإسلام.
So this is the first condition, the first shart from the shurut of the prayer, al-Islam.
وهذا أهم شرط. نعم.
And this is the most important condition.
ولا يسقط عن أحد بأي حال من الأحوال.
And this condition is never removed from anybody in any situation. It has to be fulfilled in every single situation.
الشرط الثاني العقل.
The second condition from the shurut of the prayer, from the conditions of the prayer is al-aql, meaning intellect.
فلو صلى المجنون فصلاته باطلة.
So if a person who is insane or who has the mental disability, if he prays, then his prayer is not accepted.
طيب لو صلى السكران ما حكم صلاة السكران؟
What is the ruling of a person who is drunk praying whilst he is drunk?
هل صلاته صحيحة؟
Is his prayer correct and accepted or not?
نعم.
صحيحة ولكن لا تقبل. يعني ليس له أجر فيها.
هل السكران مجنون؟
The person who is drunk, is he majnoon? Is he insane?
لا ليس بمجنون.
No, he's not insane.
المجنون أفضل منه.
Rather, the one who is insane is better than the one who is drunk.
لأن المجنون معذور لأنه مريض.
Because the one who is insane, he has a mental disability, and therefore he is excused because he's ill.
لكن السكران ليس بمعذور أصلا.
But the one who is drunk, he isn't excused.
نقول له لا تشرب الخمر ولا بد أن تصلي.
We say to him that do not drink alcohol, but you still have to pray.
الشرط الثالث من شروط الصلاة التمييز أي التفريق بين الأشياء.
The third condition from the conditions of the prayer is at-tamyiz. And at-tamyiz is mental maturity to the extent that a person is able to distinguish between different things.
يعني يعرف إنه هذا ماء وهذا نار.
So for example, a person or a child reaches an age whereby he knows this is water and this is fire.
يعرف السؤال والجواب تقول له اجلس يجلس.
And he knows the difference between a question and an answer. If you say to a child sit down, the child sits down.
ويخطئ كثير من الناس عندما يترجم التمييز بالبلوغ.
And many people, many translators, they make a mistake when they translate at-tamyiz as being al-bulugh, as being the age of puberty.
فهل تصح صلاة الصغير؟
So is the prayer of a young person correct?
من يعرف؟ هل تصح صلاة الصغير نعم أم لا؟
The question is yes or no, is the prayer of a young child accepted?
لا خطأ. نعم خطأ ولا خطأ.
So if a person says yes or no, then both of the answers are incorrect.
إذا كان يميز فصلاته صحيحة.
We say that the young child, if he has at-tamyiz, if he reaches the age of mental maturity whereby he can distinguish between different things, if he reaches this age, then yes, then it is correct.
نعم. هل تصح صلاة الصغير؟ آخر واحد جانبك يا شيخ عمر. اسأله يا شيخ.
The prayer of a young child, is it accepted?
الله أعلم.
تعال هنا تعال هنا عندنا. تعال هنا. هل تصح صلاة الصغير؟
نعم.
إذا كان يميز فصلاته صحيحة.
So the answer is, if you're asked, is the prayer, the salah of a young child accepted? You say, if he reaches the age whereby he can distinguish between various things, then yes, it is accepted. That's the answer.
وإذا كان لا يميز فصلاته باطلة.
But if he doesn't have the mental maturity to distinguish between factors, then his prayer is not accepted.
الشرط الرابع
The fourth condition
النية.
is a niyyah, is a person's intention.
وهي أن يقول
And the intention is that he should say,
اللهم إني نويت أن أصلي في هذا اليوم
Oh Allah, I have intended to pray on this day,
يوم السبت
Saturday,
الموافق للسادس عشر من شهر أبريل
which is the 16th of April,
2016
2016,
مصليا في دولة بريطانيا
praying in Britain,
في مدينة لندن
in the city of London,
في مسجد
in the masjid.
أشوى.
Masjid al-Wahhabiyyin.
لا إيش اسم المسجد؟
Ibn Taymiyyah.
مسجد ابن تيمية
In Masjid Ibn Taymiyyah,
مصليا صلاة الظهر
praying the Dhuhr prayer,
4 ركعات
4 rak'at,
في التوقيت المحلي الساعة 1:45
according to the GMT timing of whatever time is.
هل يصح هذا؟
Is this correct?
لا يصح. النية محلها القلب والتلفظ بها بدعة.
So this isn't correct. The place in which the niyyah, the intention is made, is in the heart. And to pronounce it or say it upon the tongue is an act of innovation.
نعم. إذا لابد أن ينوي لكن بقلبه لا بلسانه.
So therefore, the condition is he has to make an intention, but this intention is made in the heart and not upon the tongue.
يعني ينوي هذه العبادة لله سبحانه وتعالى.
And the intention is that he is doing this act of worship for the sake of Allah alone.
نعم. ثم بعد هذا من شروط الصلاة رفع الحدث الأكبر والأصغر. عندنا الحدث ينقسم إلى قسمين، حدث أكبر يرتفع بالاغتسال، حدث أصغر يرتفع بالوضوء.
Then the next condition from the shurut, the conditions of the prayer, is for a person to remove himself from the state of impurity. Al-hadath, it means the state of impurity. And there are two states of impurity. Either al-hadath al-akbar, the major form of impurity, and a person removes himself or purifies himself from the major state of impurity by making ghusl. Or al-hadath al-asghar, the minor state of impurity, and a person purifies himself and removes himself from the minor state of impurity through making wudu.
يعني خرج منه ريح وصلى قبل أن يتوضأ.
So for example, a person, he passed wind and then he prayed before making wudu.
أو احتلم خرج منه المني وهو نائم وقام توضأ وصلى فصلاته باطلة لأنه لابد أن يغتسل.
Or a person who had a wet dream and therefore there was discharge from him and he performed wudu and he prayed. In this situation his prayer is not correct. Why? Because he has entered into a state of major impurity and he can only remove himself from major impurity through making ghusl, not by making wudu.
إذا لابد من الوضوء أو الاغتسال.
And therefore a person has to either make wudu or he has to make ghusl depending on the type of impurity.
ولا بد من إزالة النجاسة عن ثلاثة أشياء.
And also from the conditions of the prayer is that a person has to remove any impurities from three specific places.
إزالة النجاسة عن البدن.
Firstly, remove any physical impurities on his body.
وعن الثوب.
And remove any physical impurities from his clothing.
وعن المكان الذي يصلي فيه.
And remove any physical impurities from the place in which he is praying.
فلو صلى وعلى ثوب نجاسة أو على بدن نجاسة أو في مكان نجس وهو قادر على إزالة هذه النجاسة فصلاته باطلة.
So if a person prays and there is najasa, there is an impurity upon his body or his clothing or where he is praying, and he has the ability to remove the najasa but he doesn't do so, then his prayer is not accepted.
ولا بد من استقبال القبلة، استقبال الكعبة، استقبال مكة.
And also from the shurut or the conditions of the prayer is that he is facing the qibla or he is facing the Kaaba, i.e. towards Makkah.
نعم. في الفريضة وفي النافلة.
And this is the same whether a person is praying an obligatory prayer or a voluntary prayer.
وفي الحضر وفي السفر.
And whether a person is resident or he's traveling.
إلا أن المسافر يصح له أن يصلي النافلة حيث توجهت به الدابة أو الراحلة أو القطار أو السيارة أو الطائرة.
And
النافلة فقط.
The exception to this is a traveler. The traveler who is on his mode of transport, whether it is a car or an aeroplane or a ship, and he's praying a nafil prayer, then he prays that nafil prayer in any direction in which the mode of transport is facing.
أما الفريضة لابد فيها من استقبال القبلة استقبال الكعبة.
And as for the fard prayer, the obligatory prayer, then he has to face the qibla, he has to face the Kaaba.
نعم. ثم أيضا من شروط الصلاة ستر العورة وأحسن من هذا أخذ كامل الزينة في الصلاة.
And also from the conditions of the prayer, from the shurut of the salah, is that a person, he covers his awrah being the private parts. And better than this is that a person totally beautifies himself in terms of his appearance and clothing.
فالمرأة البالغة تستر جميع البدن إلا وجهها وعند الأجانب تغطي حتى الوجه.
So the woman who is over the age of puberty, then she has to cover her whole body apart from her face. And if she is in front of those men who are not related to her, then she even covers her face.
نعم. والأصل في الرجل أنه يستر من السرة إلى الركبة.
And as for the man, the male, then he covers that which is between his navel and his knees.
مع استحباب ستر العاتقين وأخذ كامل الزينة في الصلاة.
However, it is still recommended for him to cover both his shoulders and also beautify his appearance.
نعم. إذن أكثر ما يكون في بطلان صلاة بعض الناس من يصلي في البنطال، خاصة حال السجود وحال الركوع.
So therefore, the thing which invalidates the prayer in the majority of cases, or that which is most likely, is when people are praying in trousers or tight trousers, especially when they go down into sujood or when they go down into ruku'.
عندما تنكشف العورة من ورائه.
When his awra, his private parts, become uncovered from the back.
فلا بد أن يحتاط قبل أن يدخل في الصلاة ويحتاط عند الركوع وعند السجود، وإلا فالصلاة باطلة.
So a person must take caution before he enters into the prayer. Make sure that all of his body is covered, and more so when he's going to enter into sujood or ruku', he knows that he's wearing the right types of clothing, that his body will be covered. Otherwise, his prayer will not be accepted. If his awra becomes shown, then his prayer is not accepted.
الشرط الأخير دخول الوقت، فلا يصح أن يصلي قبل الوقت أو يتعمد إخراج الصلاة عن وقتها. لا بد أن يصلي الصلاة في وقتها.
And then the final condition, the final shart of the prayer is the entering of the correct time of the prayer. So he can't pray before the entering of the time, and neither can he delay the prayer so that the time has gone.
أتى بالشروط الآن يقوم ويصلي.
So now this person, if he has fulfilled all of these conditions, he stands up and establishes the prayer.
إذن لابد من الإتيان بهذه الشروط قبل أن تدخل في الصلاة.
So a person must fulfill these conditions before he enters into the prayer.
نعم. الآن أتى بالشروط كاملة.
So this person now, let's say he has fulfilled all of the conditions.
نعم. طيب. الآن أتى بالشروط كاملة. نعم.
So now this person, he has fulfilled the conditions.
من الإسلام والعقل والتمييز والنية واستقبال كما ذكرنا.
نعم. As you mentioned, he's a Muslim, he has sound intellect, so on and so forth.
لابد من القيام في الصلاة.
He has to stand for the prayer.
لأن القيام ركن.
Because standing for the prayer, the standing, this is a rukn, it is a pillar from the prayer.
في صلاة الفريضة.
It is a pillar in the prayer, in the obligatory prayers.
أما صلاة النافلة يصح أن يصلي جالسا أو على جنب.
As for the nawafil, the voluntary prayers, it is permitted for a person to pray while sitting down.
فلا بد من القيام في الفريضة.
So in the obligatory prayers, a person has to stand and pray.
نعم. ويخطئ من يصلي في هذه الأيام على الكراسي، هو يقدر على القيام لكن يصلي جالسا الفريضة، فالصلاة هنا باطلة إذا كان قادرا على القيام.
Now those people who pray on chairs, whilst they have the ability to stand up, then their prayer is not accepted in the obligatory prayers.
ثم من أركان الصلاة تكبيرة الإحرام، يعني قول الله أكبر.
And also from the pillars, from the arkan of the prayer is takbiratul ihram. And what's intended here is a person initiating his prayer by saying Allahu Akbar.
نعم. مع رفع اليدين مضمومة الأصابع ويجعل باطن الكفين جهة القبلة محاذاة الأذنين أو المنكبين.
And also a person, he raises his hands with his fingers together and his palms are facing the Qibla. And he raises his hands to the level parallel to the ears or the shoulder.
إذن يقول الله أكبر مع رفع اليدين مضمومة الأصابع متجه بباطن الكفين إلى القبلة حذو الأذنين أو المنكبين.
So a person, he says Allahu Akbar and at the same time he raises his hands with his fingers together, his palms facing the Qibla, and he raises them to the level of his ears or his shoulders.
ويخطئ من يفرج الأصابع.
So people, they make a mistake when they spread out their fingers or they open up their hands.
أو يمس شحمة الأذنين.
Or a person, he touches his ears.
أو يجعل باطن الكفين جهة الوجه.
Or his palms are facing inwards towards his face.
أو يرفع يديه يعني حذو أعلى الرأس.
Or a person raises his hands to the level of his head.
أو يخفضهما.
Or lower down.
ثم بعد هذا يضع باطن الكف اليمنى على مفصل الكف هنا وضع هكذا.
And then after this, he places the palm of his right hand upon his left wrist,
والأصابع تكون مضمومة.
whilst the fingers are still together. So merely placing the right palm on the left wrist.
لا هكذا وضع. نعم هكذا وضع أو يقبض هكذا على مفصله.
Or it is also allowed for a person to grab hold of his left wrist. So either he places his hand on his left wrist or he grabs hold of his left wrist.
إما أن يضع هكذا وضع أو يقبض هكذا.
So either wada, which is just placing, or holding.
والبعض يصنع هكذا يجمع بين الوضع والقبض لا يصح.
And some people, they combine between placing and holding at the same time, and this isn't correct.
أو يفرج أصابعه هكذا.
Or a person spreads out his fingers.
أو يقبض على مرفقيه.
Or a person, he holds his shoulders or places his hands on his elbow.
أو لا يقبض أصبع.
Or a person, he doesn't place his hands upon his...
يضعهما على صدره دون تكلف.
And a person should place his hands upon his chest, but without going overboard, without being too extreme.
ويخطئ من يضع هكذا.
So those people who place their hands near to their necks make a mistake.
أو على قلبه.
Or those people who place their hands on their heart.
أو على خاصرته.
Or on their hips.
أو على السرة أو تحت السرة.
Or those people who place their hands upon their stomach, their navel, or below the navel.
يستحب له هنا أن يقول دعاء الاستفتاح.
It is recommended for a person who has said Takbiratul Ihram and he has placed his right hand on his left wrist to now say the Dua al-Istiftah, which is the opening supplication.
بأي دعاء وارد عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And he can say any supplication which has been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
مثل أن يقول
Like for example he says
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك ثم بعد هذا يستعيذ.
And then after saying that supplication or any one of the supplications which have been authentically narrated, he then seeks refuge in Allah.
يقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
By saying أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أو بأي نوع من أنواع الاستعاذات الواردة عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
Or any other narrations in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sought a different type of refuge.
ثم يقول بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
And then after this, he mentions the name of Allah by saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
ثم لابد من قراءة الفاتحة فهي ركن من أركان الصلاة.
And then a person has to recite Surah Al-Fatiha because it is a pillar, a rukn from the pillars of the prayer.
يقرأها كاملة.
And he has to recite Surah Al-Fatiha in totality, all of it.
مرتبة.
In the correct order.
بآياتها.
With all of its ayat.
وكلماتها.
And all of its words.
وحروفها.
And all of its letters and vowels.
وحركاتها.
Its vowels.
في كل ركعة.
And this has to be done in every single unit of prayer.
فلو ترك منها حرف فالصلاة باطلة.
So if a person leaves a single letter from Surah Al-Fatiha, then his prayer is not accepted.
ثم بعد هذا يؤمن يقول آمين أي اللهم استجب.
And then after this, after reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, a person says Ameen. And the meaning of Ameen is Allahumma astajib, oh Allah accept it.
ثم يستحب له أن يقرأ ما تيسر من القرآن يعني آية فأكثر أو سورة.
And then after this, it is recommended, highly recommended for a person to recite something from the Quran, whatever is easy from the Quran. Meaning at least an ayah or more than this, and a surah if it is possible.
ثم بعد هذا يكبر كما كبر في تكبيرة الإحرام للركوع.
And after doing all of this, a person makes takbir once more like he did for takbiratul ihram. But this takbir is now to go into ruku, to go into the bowing.
نعم يصنع كما صنع في تكبيرة الإحرام من قول الله أكبر مع رفع اليدين.
And he does it in the same manner, meaning he says Allahu Akbar, at the same time he raises his hands in the same manner which he has done previously.
نعم مضمومة الأصابع باطن الكفين جهة القبلة حذو الأذنين أو حذو المنكبين.
I.e. that a person with his fingers together, his palms facing the Qibla, raising his hands to the level of his shoulders or to the level of his ears, parallel to his ears.
ثم يركع.
And then after this a person makes ruku', he goes into his bowing.
نعم يقبض على ركبتيه بيديه يقبض على ركبتيه مفرجة الأصابع لا مضمومة مفرجة.
And when a person is making ruku', then he places his hands onto his knees and he holds on to his knees. And this is done with the fingers being spread out and not together.
ويجعل الظهر على استقامة واحدة مع الرأس.
And his back should be level to his head.
ولا يثني المرفقين. يثني المرفقين.
And he does not point or bend his elbows.
يجعلها ممدودة.
Meaning he stretches out his arm.
لأن ثني المرفقين يؤدي إلى ثني الظهر.
Because when a person bends his elbows, then his back will also be lower, will also become lower. So by keeping the arms straight, he ensures that his back is also straight.
النظر دائما يكون إلى موضع السجود.
And he should always be looking.
هذا الأخ يأتينا الصغير.
He should always be looking at the place in which he is making sujood.
نعم هذا. أي نعم خليه يخلع اللي عليه ويأتي. ثم يقول في سجود في ركوعه الآن سبحان ربي العظيم مرة واحدة وجوبا.
And then whilst he is in his ruku', whilst he is bowing, he should say Subhana Rabbiyal Azim at least once as an obligation.
لابد أن يقول هذا اللفظ سبحان ربي العظيم مرة واحدة وجوبا.
So he has to say these words Subhana Rabbiyal Azim at least once as an obligation.
ثم يزيد يستحب له أن يزيد بما ورد عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And then a person can increase more than one or different types of remembrances according to that which has been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
سبحان ربي العظيم أو سبوح قدوس رب الملائكة والروح أو سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك اللهم اغفر لي أو سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمدي أو غير هذا مما ورد عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
So any of these remembrances which have been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
نعم ثم الآن يعني وهو راكع بين الركوع وبين القيام الاعتدال يرفع اليدين مع قول سمع الله لمن حمده فإذا استقام يقول ربنا ولك الحمد.
So whilst a person is still in the ruku' and between him standing up and then fully standing up, he says سمع الله لمن حمده and he raises his hands. And as soon as he has stood up, then he says ربنا ولك الحمد.
نعم تعال اصعد بسم الله ما شاء الله هنا إلى القبلة. أولا قيام الإنسان في الصلاة قيام المصلي في صلاته لابد أن يجعل الرجلين مع مساواة المنكبين.
So firstly, when a person stands in the prayer, he has to make sure that his feet are level with his shoulders.
يعني يجعلها على استقامة البدن.
So a person should stand like he would normally stand, so his body is firm.
نعم ويكون النظر من الخارج لا من الداخل يعني مساواة الرجل هكذا من الخارج لا من الداخل.
And a person ensures that his feet are pointing straight, either outside of his feet and not the inside.
نعم يعني على استقامة البدن.
So look how the feet are now equal or level with the body and the shoulders.
يخطئ البعض بأن يضم القدمين.
Some people they make a mistake by placing the feet too close together.
أو يفرج بينهما تفريج كثير.
Or by making them too wide, too spacious.
أو يجعلهما للداخل أكثر ما يكون أو للخارج هكذا.
Or a person's feet are pointing inwards or outwards.
يجعلها على استقامة البدن وينظر دائما الاستقامة من الخارج لا من الداخل.
So a person should make sure his feet are pointing straight towards the Qibla, and this is by looking at the outside of the feet and not the inside.
نعم اركع الآن.
Going to ركوع.
لا تقبض هكذا يقول. نعم. وتعطي الرأس يعني المرفقين الآن غير مثنية.
So we can see how the elbows are not bending, they're not bending out.
يعني لا يثني المرفقين.
So a person should not bend his elbows.
ويكون الظهر على استقامة واحدة مع الرأس.
And we can see that the back is parallel and level to the head.
فعندما يثني المرفقين ينتني الظهر.
So whenever a person bends his elbows,
عندما ثنى هنا انثنى الظهر.
so as soon as you've bended your elbows, then naturally your body or your head will also come down.
فيجعل الرأس والظهر على استقامة واحدة مع المرفقين.
So therefore, the elbows have to be straight, the arm has to be straight, and the back and the head are level.
نعم. الآن وهو راكع بين الركوع وبين الاعتدال القيام يرفع اليدين مع قول سمع الله لمن حمده.
And now, whilst he's in ruku', between getting up from the ruku' and fully standing up, he raises his hands and at the same time he says سمع الله لمن حمده.
الآن يرفع يقول سمع الله لمن حمده مع رفع اليدين. فإذا استقام هنا يقول ربنا ولك الحمد.
So whilst he is in the transition from ruku' to fully standing up, he says سمع الله لمن حمده and he raises his hands. As soon as he stands up and he's upright, then he says ربنا ولك الحمد.
كثير من الناس يقول سمع الله لمن حمده إذا استقام هنا. هذا خطأ. لابد أن يقول سمع الله لمن حمده بين الركوع وبين القيام.
So many people they say سمع الله لمن حمده after they have stood up, and this is a mistake. سمع الله لمن حمده has to be said whilst you are in the transition of standing up.
الآن إذا استقام يقول ربنا ولك الحمد.
So when he is now upright and fully standing up, he says ربنا ولك الحمد.
ويستحب له أن يزيد بما ورد عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And it is recommended for him to increase in the remembrances according to that which has been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
كأن يقول
Like for example he says
لربي الحمد لربي الحمد لربي الحمد أو حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. نعم.
Like he says these remembrances.
ثم بعد هذا يسجد.
And then after this he goes into sujood.
نعم. يضع باطن الأصابع على الأرض وأصابع الرجلين إلى القبلة ويضم عقبيه.
So a person whilst making sujood, his feet should be close together and the bottom of his feet should be on the floor and his toes are pointing towards the qibla.
نعم. ويضع الكفين حذو الأذنين أو المنكبين.
And also he places his hands to the level of his shoulders or parallel to his ears.
والأعضاء السبعة لابد أن تكون على الأرض.
And the 7 limbs should be touching the earth, touching the floor.
الجبهة والأنف.
The forehead and the nose.
وباطن الكفين.
And the palms of the 2 hands.
والركبتين.
The 2 knees.
وباطن أصابع الرجلين.
And also the bottom of the feet, or the bottom of the toes.
أكثر ما يكون خلل عندنا في السجود.
Most of the mistakes which occur in the prayer are usually in the sujood.
يرفع الأصابع لا يضع باطن أصابع يضع هكذا.
So for example, a person he props up his toes instead of placing his toes upon the earth.
أو يرفع الرجلين.
Or he raises his feet.
أو يضع إحداهما على الأخرى.
Or he places one foot on the other.
نعم. أو يضع هكذا أطراف الأصابع. نعم. لابد من وضع باطن الأصابع على الأرض وأصابع الرجلين إلى القبلة.
So a person has to make sure that his feet and the bottom of his toes are actually touching the earth and facing towards the Qibla.
أيضا من الأخطاء في السجود
Also from the errors in sujood
أن ينضم هكذا ينضم.
is that a person, this is from the mistakes of the prayer, that he makes sujood and his body is very compact and tight.
إلا عند الضرورة.
Except in a state of necessity.
أو يمتد كأنه نائم.
Or a person, he stretches out so much so that it's as if he's sleeping.
نعم. لابد أن يباعد بين أشياء ثلاثة.
So a person has to ensure that there is distance between three things.
بين الساق والفخذ.
Between his thighs and the back of his legs, there has to be a distance.
وبين البطن والفخذ.
And between a person's stomach and his thighs.
وهنا عند الإبط.
And also his armpits, or the side of his body.
نعم. ويجعل الأصابع المضمومة جهة القبلة كما صنع في الرفع في تكبيرة الإحرام.
And also a person, he ensures his hands or his fingers are together facing the way of the Qibla.
أيضا من الأخطاء أن يضع المرفقين على الأرض.
From the mistakes is for a person to place his elbows upon the earth.
وضع المرفقين على الأرض. نعم. اجلس الآن. ماذا يقول في سجوده؟
What should a person say whilst he's in his sujood?
يقول وجوبا بهذا اللفظ سبحان ربي الأعلى لابد مرة واحدة.
A person has to say as an obligation Subhana Rabbiyal A'la at least once as an obligation.
يستحب له أن يزيد بما ورد عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And then it is recommended for him to increase in this according to what has been narrated from the Prophet.
نعم. وله أن يدعو بما أحب والأولى أن يدعو بما ورد عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And he is able to make dua, to supplicate with anything that he wants to supplicate with. But it is more recommended for a person to supplicate with those supplications which are found in the Quran and the Sunnah.
ثم بعد هذا يكبر ويجلس.
And then after this, after making sujood, he says Allahu Akbar and he sits down. How do you say prayer?
أي نعم. نعم. يجلس على يفرش الرجل اليسرى ويجلس عليها وينصب اليمنى ويجعل باطن أصابع اليمنى إلى القبلة.
So when
باطن أصابع اليمنى على الأرض والأصابع اليمنى إلى القبلة.
So when a person after sujood he says Allahu Akbar and he sits between the two sujood, and whilst he is sitting, he sits on his left foot and he props up his right foot, ensuring that the toes of his right foot are facing towards the Qibla.
وأطراف الأصابع عند نهاية الفخذ أول الركبة.
And the tips of his fingers are at the beginning of the knee.
هذا الجلوس في جلسات الصلاة كلها.
So this manner of sitting is in every position of the prayer in which a sitting is required.
إلا في التشهد الأخير إذا كان في الصلاة أكثر من تشهد في الصلاة الثلاثية كالمغرب أو الرباعية كالظهر والعصر والعشاء يتورك في التشهد الأخير.
And the only exception is in the prayers where there is more than one tashahhud, like the 3 rak'at of Maghrib or the 4 rak'at of Isha or Asr, in which there are 2 tashahhud. In the final tashahhud, he can change his sitting.
تخرج هذا الرجل من هنا.
You know this foot, take it out.
هنا.
Bring it out here. Sit on the table. That's it. Sit on the table. Sit on the table.
لا هذا من هنا هذا تخرجه من هنا. اجلس أنت يا حجاب. هنا اجلس. هكذا لطفا.
So you can see it. Sit like this.
That is
Sit on the table. That's it.
لا هذا هنا.
in here.
This foot, bring it out. No, this foot. Bring it out.
من أسفل. نعم جيد من أسفل من هنا. أي نعم جيد.
That's it.
لا ما جاءت معه. الثانية هنا. اليمنى هنا اليمنى. أيوة هكذا. نعم جيد. نعم. هذا أصابع اليمنى اجعلها واقفة. أي جيد. طيب هكذا نعم.
So in the second tashahhud, when there is more than one tashahhud in the prayer, then a person can sit like this.
نعم يقبض على ركبته اليسرى ويشير بالإصبع.
So a person, he grabs hold of his left knee with his left hand, and with his right hand he's raising his finger pointing.
الأخطاء في الجلوس.
So the mistakes that people make while sitting.
نعم خليه يجلس يعدل رجليه. نعم الأخطاء أن يجعل الرجل هكذا.
So people, the mistakes that they make whilst they're sitting is placing their right foot like this and are not propping it up.
أو يجلس على الرجلين.
Or that a person sits on both of his feet. This is also a mistake.
أو هكذا.
Or he sits like that.
أو يجعل الرجلين من الخارج ويجلس.
Or a person sits on the floor whilst his feet are to the side.
أي نعم ممكن هكذا أخطاء.
So all of these are mistakes.
أو يبعدهما ويجلس على عقبيه. نعم.
Or a person sits on the floor.
هذه الأخطاء في الجلوس. نعم.
All of these are mistakes when it comes to the prayer.
طيب ثم بعد هذا يسجد.
After this a person says Allahu Akbar, goes back into sujood.
ثم يقوم للركعة الثانية.
And then a person stands up once again for the second standing of the prayer.
يصنع فيها كما صنع في الأولى.
And he should pray in exactly the same manner in which he has prayed before.
لكن الثانية ليس فيها تكبيرة الإحرام، فيها تكبيرة انتقال من السجود إلى القيام.
But the only difference is that the takbir you have made now, standing up from the sujood, isn't takbiratul ihram, because takbiratul ihram is a takbir which is made to start and initiate the prayer. This is not takbiratul intiqal, meaning the takbir to move from one position to another position.
وليس فيها دعاء استفتاح، الاستفتاح في الأولى فقط.
And also there is no dua for opening the prayer. This is only at the beginning.
نعم. لا جلوس صحيح.
Like in the prayer. Like you say for the prayer.
نعم. فإذا انتهى من الثانية جلس للتشهد.
So if a person now finishes from his second unit of the prayer, he now sits for a tashahhud, the sitting of
ويشير
tashahhud.
بإصبعه.
And he points with his finger.
يحركها.
And he moves his finger.
نعم. ويقرأ التشهد كاملا.
And he reads or recites all of the tashahhud.
ثم يصلي الصلاة الإبراهيمية على النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And then after this he sends salutations upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by saying as-salat al-ibrahimiyya.
ثم يستعيذ بالله من أربع.
And then a person seeks refuge in Allah from four matters.
من عذاب جهنم.
From the punishment of Jahannam.
وعذاب القبر.
And the punishment of the grave.
ومن فتنة المحيا والممات.
And from the trials of life and death.
ومن فتنة المسيح الدجال.
And the trials and tribulations of Ad-Dajjal.
ويستحب له أن يدعو بما أحب والأولى أن يدعو بأدعية النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And after all of this, it is recommended for him to supplicate with any supplication that he wants. But it is recommended that he uses the supplications of the Quran and the Sunnah.
ثم يسلم برأسه فقط عن يمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله ثم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله عن شماله.
And then he finishes his prayer by making taslim, but only with his head, meaning he only moves his head towards the right and then he faces the left.
الأخطاء في التسليم.
So people make mistakes when it comes to taslim.
ينحرف قليلا عن اليمين هكذا وقليلا عن اليسار.
That a person, instead of fully facing with his head towards the right and the left, he'll only move it slightly towards the right and slightly towards the left.
أو يحرك يطقطق برأسه هكذا عن اليمين ثم يطقطق برأسه هكذا عن الشمال.
Or a person, he nods his head whilst pointing it towards the right, and he nods his head whilst pointing it towards the left.
أو يحرك يديه عن اليمين ويديه عن اليسار أو يضرب بهما.
Or some people, when they move their hands as well.
أو يسلم بمنكبيه.
Or a person, he makes taslim with all of his shoulders and his body.
نعم لا يسلم إلا برأسه فقط لا بمنكبيه يعني ما ينحرف عن القبلة.
So a person should remain towards the direction of the qibla, and he only faces his face towards the right and the left, not his shoulders.
هذا في الصلاة الثنائية كصلاة الفجر.
So this is in the prayer in which there are only 2 rak'at, like the prayer of Fajr.
أما لو كان في الرباعية كالظهر يتشهد.
And as for the prayers in which there are 4 rak'at, 4 units of prayer, then he says that the tashahhud in this second sitting.
ويستحب له أن يأتي بالصلاة الإبراهيمية على النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And then it is recommended for him to say as-salat al-Ibrahimiyya.
ثم يقوم.
And then he stands up once again for now the third unit of prayer.
ثم الآن إذا قام يرفع يديه قائلا الله أكبر.
And when a person stands up from the first sitting, i.e. the second unit of prayer, then he raises his hands saying Allahu Akbar.
يتمها ثم بعد هذا يجلس التشهد.
And then he completes his third unit and all the fourth unit, and he sits back down for the final tashahhud.
والله أعلم. صلى الله على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم.